So the 2017 draft definitely wasn't as loaded as the 2018 one, but there are a lot of good players that were drafted here. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? In today's video, we're going to be redrafting the 2017 NBA draft. So unlike the 2018 redraft, I'm going to do more than the lottery. So what I think I'm going to be doing is redrafting guys that I want to redraft. So here we have 18 picks. We're going to be starting with the Pacers at 18. I will still be giving you guys about 5 honorable mentions, but I feel like there was really no need to redraft these guys. But the top 18 picks here I thought were all valuable. And like, you know, the honorable mentions are as well, but those guys I just kind of wanted to redraft. Because I could have made 14 picks, but just leaving out 15, 16, 17, and 18 just I feel like would have been useless. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy these redrafts, feel free to drop a thumbs up. I'll give you guys those 5 honorable mentions right now. So the first one was Thomas Bryant. Not a bad career so far because he was drafted late in the first round. Next up is Frank Ntilikina. I guess you can call him a bust since he was a top 10 pick, but still turned out to be a good defender. The Knicks definitely just effed up his development. Zach Collins is next, who was the 10th overall pick in this draft. He didn't really turn out to be a great lottery pick, but he still turned out to have an okay career so far. He got paid from the Spurs last offseason. We got Dennis Smith Jr. coming in at honorable mention number 4. His development was also on a weird path once the Mavericks got Luka Doncic. And lastly, we have Josh Jackson, who actually has the 10th most points scored from this class. But a lot of his struggles were also off the court. So coming in with the 18th overall pick, we have the Indiana Pacers. They are going to be selecting Malik Monk. So they originally took TJ Leaf here, so it's definitely going to be an upgrade. Malik Monk was picked at 11. Didn't really work out for Charlotte then to be that backcourt partner next to Kemba Walker, but he still turned out to be a very good shooter scorer throughout his career, and he would definitely be a good 18th overall pick. Next up at 17, we have the Milwaukee Bucks selecting Monte Morris, who was originally the 51st pick in the draft. So yeah, he definitely rose a lot in the redraft, and Milwaukee would be getting a very good ball handler, playmaker, kind of floor general to dish it off to Middleton and Giannis. Definitely better than DJ Wilson here. Next up at 16, we have the Chicago Bulls, who took Justin Patton. Yeah, wasn't a great player in the NBA. So they're going to get Derek White here, who's just kind of been an underrated guard throughout his career. He was pretty good for the Spurs in the playoffs back in 2019. He recently got traded to Boston this past season. He was a little bit inconsistent, especially with his shooting, but he's a damn good player to go 16 in a redraft. Next up at 15, we have the Sacramento Kings, who got Justin Jackson here in a trade with Portland, but they're going to end up with Luke Kennard, who was definitely inconsistent at times in Detroit. He got injured at some points. I thought at one point he could have been like a point guard. He had a really good passing season. I think that was in 2019 or 2020. But yeah, he's turned into one of the best three-point shooters in the league and a very important piece to a good Clippers team. And the Kings are going to get him here at 15 to help space the floor. Well, not with De'Aaron Fox. All right, so let's start the lottery. The Miami Heat at number 14 made one of the best picks in this draft, getting Bam Adebayo here. But yeah, he's not falling to 14. They're going to get Josh Hart, who's been a pretty good player throughout his career in LA. He got moved to New Orleans in the Anthony Davis trade, was good there, and was good for the Blazers at the end of the year, and he's going to be an important piece for them next year. He's a very underrated rebounder, probably one of the better wing guard rebounders in the league. Next up at 13, we have the Utah Jazz, who made a pick with, or a trade with Denver. Donovan Mitchell was the pick here, and they're not getting Donovan Mitchell in a redraft. Yeah, picks 13 and 14 were incredible with Mitchell and Adebayo back-to-back. Utah here is going to get Jonathan Isaac. Yeah, so Isaac on pure talent is probably a top 10 guy in this class, but he's just had a plethora of injuries throughout his career. He hasn't played in like over 2 seasons, but when he was healthy, he was one of the best defenders in the league. This guy can guard 1 through 5. He was becoming a better ball handler. He was even becoming a better shooter, but he was still no guarantee there. But Utah's getting a Defensive Player of the Year candidate at 13. That's a great pick. So at pick 12, we have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Lowry Marketing. I mentioned they got Malik Monk a little bit earlier, so this is a different style of player, but hey, maybe he's still as good of a shooter. He was up and down in Chicago. I feel like he was one of those players that a lot of people thought, okay, this is his breakout year. This is his most improved season. I remember saying that a couple times. I mean, his development kind of got stumped with Jim Boylan. There was a couple head coaching changes, but it seems like he's doing fine in Cleveland. And he'd be probably a better immediate piece around Kemba Walker than Monk was. Coming in 11, we have the Detroit Pistons selecting Markelle Fultz, the number 1 overall pick. Falls to 11, and we know Fultz just had a lot of injuries before he started his career during his first stint with Philadelphia, but he's definitely revived his career in Orlando. He got an extension not too long ago, but he was out last year, came back at the end of the year, and I think he is going to be much better next year. And Fultz at 11, that could be kind of low for him, but Fultz has turned into being a solid player, and I think he will get better and better. All right, so coming in at number 10, we have the Portland Trailblazers getting Kyle Kuzma, definitely a better forward than they got originally in Zach Collins, who they traded traded up for. And Kuzma started out his career on the Lakers and was an immediate impact. And we're like, okay, this guy's one of the best players from the class. He stayed when the Anthony Davis trade happened, helped them win a championship in 2020. Then he was in the Russell Westbrook trade in Washington, and he's been very good in his time as a Wizard so far. He's a good floor spacer. He's been a good scorer, and getting him at 10 around Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum would have been a nice help piece for them. Coming in at number 9, we have the Dallas Mavericks selecting somebody that went 45th in this draft, was technically drafted by Houston, traded to Memphis, and that was Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks, one of the better wing defenders in this class. He's a crafty scorer, not a crafty scorer, I should say, but like kind of a off-ball scorer type. He could hit a 3, not bad attacking the rim, and he would have been a nice piece around Luka Doncic if they were to still get him a year later. Coming in at number 8, we have the New York Knicks, who at the time had Kristaps Porzingis. There were talks about maybe moving him. They still had Melo. They ended up moving him a couple months later, and they went Frank Ntilikina here, but in the redraft, they're going to be getting John Collins out of Wake Forest. They would probably move Kristaps to the 5 because they ended up having Kristaps and Cantor as the front court after the Melo trade happened, but hey, maybe the Melo trade still happens or not, but then you would have KP at the 5, John Collins at the 4, and I think they would play very well with each other, or at least at the start of their careers. So next up, we have the Chicago Bulls, who made this trade after they shipped off Jimmy Butler to Minnesota, so I'll still be making this for Chicago. They originally got Lowry Marketing. Here they're getting OG Anunoby, who could be arguably the best perimeter defender in this class. He'd be next to Zach LaVine, so he'd be able to help him out defensively. And yeah, who knows? Maybe they could have just been the wing duo for a decade plus. Coming in number 6, we have the Orlando Magic, who originally took Jonathan Isaac here, and they really never had their point guard a little bit, and it's funny now because now they have so many with Cole and Suggs and Fultz. But yeah, I'm gonna have them selecting Lonzo Ball here in the redraft. Lonzo Ball is a pretty damn good player. He became a good shooter in New Orleans. We know he's a good defender, a good passer. He's good in transition. The only knock on Lonzo, I would say, sometimes he can be inconsistent shooting the ball, but really it's his injury history. He does get injured a lot, which kind of sucks. It's really nothing he can do, but it's just how his career is going to turn out. But still getting Lonzo at 6, I think, is good value for Orlando, and definitely has had a better career than Jonathan Isaac so far. Next up, we have the Sacramento Kings, and I'm going to have them select Jared Allen. So they got De'Aaron Fox originally here, but their Fox will be theoretically off the board in this redraft, so we're gonna have them select Jared Allen, who at first was just like this normal big man. You know, he could rebound, he can maybe block a shot here and there, but then he turned into one of the league's best rim protectors, one of the league's best rebounders, and was an all-star this year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So getting an all-star who's probably underpaid, but we don't know if that happens in the redraft, but is pretty underrated. He's like one of the better centers in the league. Getting him at 5 is pretty good for Sacramento. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns at 4. Man, this is what they should have did originally. He was on the board, and that's De'Aaron Fox. So you would have still had Devin Booker at this time, and getting De'Aaron Fox would have been pretty nice to be next to D-Book. You got the Kentucky connection there. At 3, the Boston Celtics will not be getting Jason Tatum. I'm sorry, Boston fans, but hey, maybe it's a good thing that you're not getting him in a redraft. So they're going to be getting Bam Adebayo here, who's not a bad consolation prize. Coming in at number 2, we have the LA Lakers, and they're getting Donovan Mitchell. So we know Mitchell's been on the news lately if he's going to get traded out of Utah or not, but he's been one of the best scorers at the shooting guard position. He's been one of the best shooting guards pretty much since his sophomore year in the league. In most redrafts, he'd probably go number 1, but there is a player that is better than him in this class. And with the number 1 overall pick, the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2017 redraft are selecting Jason Tatum. So Tatum, who originally went 3, is going to go 1 here in the redraft. And imagine this Philly team with Tatum, because you would have had, at the time, Sarge and Covington. But yeah, Embiid, Simmons, and Tatum, that would have been insane as a 1, 2, and 3. I believe they had Redick at this time, but either way, imagine you had Tatum, Simmons, and Embiid for the future. That would have been one of the best big 3 cores for a while. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of my 2017 redraft. Drop a like if you guys did enjoy. Let me know down below. I might put out a poll if you guys like to see me go from the bottom to the top, or would you rather me start with number 1 in the redraft? But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.